In the depths of YouTube, there was a small dojo with few subscribers and visits, which was run by a renegade student of cinema, but no one should mess with.
Come join the fun.
Chapter 1. The one who did not know what Mark San knew.
The prestigious Canon FD being one of the most optically advanced focus lenses I've ever had the chance to shoot with. Paired with a good full-frame super multi-coated Takumar 50mm f1.4. The Canon FD is the most optically advanced 50mm lens. It honestly feels like I'm in the presence of greatness. And there it goes. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
Master, is it true? Did Mark San left the Takumar school? I don't know.
Master, the Canon FD school is better than the Takumar? I don't know. I don't.
If you ask around about the main difference between Super SMC Takumar and Canon FD lenses, common answer is that the Canon lenses have a creamier bokeh than the Asahi. This distinction is repeated so often that we, myself included, parrot it without questioning whether there is any evidence to back it up. So today, what better than 2 telephotos to verify if it's true the 135mm Asahi Super Multi-Coated Takumar was sold for about $570 in today's money when it was released in 1971, while the 135 from Canon, the nFD, was sold in 1979 for around $580. Similar prices for similar spec. I mentioned the price because at the time, 135mm focal length was a darling among the photographers for their portraits, and aperture of f3.5 wasn't considered an issue. Fast forward today, despite being available for peanuts, 135mm lenses are no one darlings, especially not among the filmmakers, which is quite strange considering that even at f3.5, a telephoto is still a bokeh blaster. So without any surprise, same optical formula usually means same bokeh. And this is what's going on here. The bokeh satanists will surely say that there are some differences. In reality, you will be hard-pressed to differentiate them. Both lenses render a basic and clean bokeh, nothing fancy. But can these lenses produce a creamy background? Of course they can, like any other telephoto below f3.5. But this is not the difficult part. The difficulty is to compose with the teeny frame offered by a 135mm focal length at a minimum distance as possible in order to get the background out of focus. And this is where the nFD has the advantage with its 1.3 meter of minimum focusing distance against the 1.5 meter of the TAC. At f3.5, with this focal length, 20 cm difference is a lot. Also, let's not forget that the SMC and the nFD have only 6 aperture blades, meaning that the hexagonal shapes are part of the decorum. Usually hexagonal bokeh bubble are not my thing, but I have to say right now, this looks very yummy.
Chapter 2. The one who knew the one who knew.
I know someone who knows.
Once upon a time, deep in the kingdom of YouTube, there lived a student of cinema who knew that knowledge is a weapon. And he intended to be formidably armed, even if it meant crossing all the lands and seas of the kingdom and challenging his ignorance to obtain it. This is his story.
The image of the SMC is very close to the nFD, or should I say the opposite, considering that the Takumar is the oldest one. But they still have some subtle characteristics to differentiate them. The two men that I found are the nFD is a touch sharper, very good at micro details, and he has a larger depth of field than the Takumar. Just like you can see on this shot. Practically speaking, it means for filming moving dialogue between two people, the nFD is the right choice. But if we have to isolate a single subject, the smaller depth of field of the Takumar is the way to go. Apart from that, chromatic aberration, distortion, and the color radiation are nearly identical, although the Takumar is slightly warmer. Having more sharpness, the nFD gets a more modern vibe. Sometimes it seems too modern for my liking. For example, look at this shot, way too modern for me. But don't quote me on that, because something tells me that if I were to clean up the Takumar or get one in better condition, it might be a draw. The Canon fans will certainly say that the nFD is better. Listen, at this level of similarity, in my opinion, they are both equally good, and the choice between them will be just a matter of personal preferences. Optically speaking, these both deliver a very good image quality that has serious filmic potential. By filmic potential, I mean they don't render a cheap image like many modern lenses. That said, if I know that I will go on a vintage yellowish color grade, I will certainly use the Takumar, if not probably the FD. But as I said, at this level of resemblance, this is just a matter of personal preference.
Chapter 3. The one who went to meet the one who knew.
Legend on the street is that the Bujitsu of the Canon FD school are better than those of the Asahi. Last week at the market, I heard some young cats saying that only Brock's fighters are following the Asahi teachings. Psst. They are still briefing. Lions don't chase flies. I said nothing. I don't waste my breath debating weak men. I'm going to ask one of my sensei for his opinion on this waza that the two schools have in common during their fight in the 135th chamber. For the character, not much to say. Maybe on a full frame it might be a different story, but on Micro Four Third, even with a focal reducer, there is nothing worthy enough that I could call character. And it was entirely predictable considering the manufacturers of these lenses. For those who missed a few episodes of modern photography history, in the late 70s, early 80s, anything resembling a swirl, distortion or aberration, what are we calling today character, was judged as bad optics and was avoided by the photographers. So Asahi and Canon gave them what they wanted. Too bad for us, not much. But between us, I am convinced that all telephotos manufactured in the late 70s that saw computational optic designs are producing the same image. But this is for another story. If anyone remembers the fight, it is definitely him. Flares. So here, same light and same camera setting to compare the flares at f3.5 only. First remark, overall the lenses handle the light very well. They produce a good image, nothing is washed out, they still retain the contrast, they produce the same type of flare, unfortunately. It is basic, but not ugly. It is okay, not all over the place, but nothing fancy. Everything seems alike, but if you pay attention, the nFD is the one which seems prone to ghosting. Flares are mostly within the blue spectrum, but the nFD is navigating into the violet and the green. It is up to your taste. Right there, mine is more inclined to the nFD.
Chapter 4. The One Who Knew. After the traditional greeting, the student said,
Sensei.
Then he asked.
Which one?
The sensei answered.
What?
The student felt
What?
confused.
Can you repeat? You are talking to me right now. Sorry, but I don't understand what you say. Which language you are talking right now?
His sensei added.
I just want to know this one or this one. Which one is better? That's it. Asahi, Canon, which one?
Frustration grew in the student.
Okay. You already know what these lenses are made of, so I won't waste your time. Let me jump into the real issue. And sorry for the Asahi fraternity, but time to put aside my affinities. Listen, for filming, the nFD is simply just better than the Asahi. Not much because of the image, in fact they are close, but because of the usability you will have from the build. Keep in mind, I said Asahi Takumar, not Pentax Takumar. In fact, it would be fair to compare the Pentax K series to the Canon NFD, but this is for another video. The Super and the SMC Takumar, like many vintage lenses, suffer from several defects that the FD series, especially the new nFD lenses, don't have. They exhibit an image and aperture shift issues, as well some body wiggle that increase with age. And that's a very big deal when filming. On the other hand, the nFD, even with the bunch of plastic parts, the construction is solid, strong, tight, nothing moves, there is no shifting. Then there is the mount mechanism. Comparing a simple M42 screw mount to the nFD bridge lock is like night and day. You can confidently add a motorized follow focus like the DJI LiDAR or rack the focus like a maniac without worrying about movement. With the Takumar DJI LiDAR, I wouldn't try that. The good news is that both lenses offer a wide focus throw, comparable to some cine lenses, or at least, to give you an idea, comparable to the Mir 1B. Unfortunately, the bad news is like 99% of vintage photography lenses, their focus briefing is very pronounced. This is my polite way to say damn it's bad. To the point that you will avoid racking the focus altogether. I guess we can't have everything, huh? Anyway, long story short, for build and overall usability, the plasticky nFD is the one to go with. I will certainly leave the Takumar on the shelf and just go with the nFD when I need one 135mm focal length. Alright friend, that's it for me. I'll see you next year maybe. Bye.
Chapter 5. The One Who Finally Knows. After hours of confusion and frustration, the student realized he had to elevate himself to the sensei's level of knowledge, not expect the sensei to stoop to his level. Then he finally grasped the essence of the teachings. The sensei was guiding him toward the realization that he had lost himself in the darkness of YouTube. By fixating on the memes and dramas, the student had forgotten the soul of this noble art. sensei said,
The image has its reasons that the lens does not know.
a wise man can learn more from a foolish school.
Then a fool can learn from a wise school. If you spend too much time thinking about a lens, you'll never get the feature done. The wise filmmaker does not pursue lenses, but lives his creativity, and therein precisely do his lenses lie. It is futile to argue as to which single lens, which design of optical formula, or which attractive brand you like. When you understand the art, you understand all its creativity. Learn the lens, abide by the lens, and then dissolve the lens.